Welcome to the flowerschool.com video library. I'm Leanne Kessler, Director of the Floral Design Institute, and today I'm here to share with you a segment on a springtime bridal bouquet. 'Tis the season and cascades are in style, so let me show you the mechanics behind a beautiful bridal bouquet. You may see some similarities in this bouquet with the video you saw a few weeks ago with the peony bridal bouquet. It's because that was one of our most popular segments ever and created so many questions that I thought, well, I better go back and answer those questions for everybody, because if I'm getting this many emails and this many phone calls, there's probably a lot more questions out there that people haven't contacted. So today, I'm going to make a little different cascade, but talk through all the mechanics and answer all those questions so you can see exactly how it's done. The most frequently asked question is, why did I design with the holder upside down? And you may have noticed that I worked with it in this direction, not this way. Now yes, I too was trained originally to work this way, and we still teach that in the classroom. That's normal. But the reality is, I also teach it this way because it's much more comfortable. And just try it at home. Put some flowers, anything in it, and then hold it like this. And you'll notice that gravity pulls down, and especially in a cascade, it pushes it back against your dress then. Whereas if you hold it this way, gravity makes it just push against the palm of your hand. It's much more comfortable to carry, and it keeps the tail of the cascade outward so it doesn't run into your clothing. The first step in creating the bouquet was to conceal all of the plastic, because that's not real attractive. And I did that by using dusty miller leaves and spray gluing them on using the 3M Super 77. Gave me a wonderful coverage that feels good for the bride when she holds it as well. Now that brought up so many questions as to what other options would be workable for covering the back of the handle and the holder. There are so many choices. You want something firm and leathery. Dusty Miller is fabulous, but Galix, Ruscus, Salal, Ivy, Laurel, look around. You'd be surprised how many things are grand. Then once it's on there, I like to use the bullion wire just to add a little bit of sparkle and glitter. And then it also helps keep the leaves in place as she holds it in the heat of her hands so that it doesn't create problems and start to shatter or fall apart. Just wrapping it around, then twisting the two ends together and clip it free. To create the bouquet, I set it down into a holder to work. And that's where the next question started coming. Wherever did you get that fabulous holder? And it is fabulous, and I am almost sorry I used it because it's no longer available. And yes, it is great. It's just a metal frame with a glass insert. It was originally created by the Oasis company, but they're no longer manufacturing it. Also comes in an upright version, but they don't exist. So this is something you may be on the hunt for, and if you find one, let me know, because I would look for more as well. Or maybe you've got the skills to be a manufacturer. Well, guess what? This is something that everybody seems to want. Now, if you don't have this, you could work with it just by setting it down into a vase, and then you can work there as well. But no, I'm going to tease you, and I'm going to go ahead and work in my holder, and I'll tell you, unfortunately, you can't find it. Now, as I design, working in that cascading style, I like to work with long flowers. It just makes it easier. So like the dendrobium orchids and vines. The jasmine vine was beautiful in the last bouquet, but what about stephanotis vine? Is that not fabulous? Oh, absolutely adore it. They aren't even open yet. They're just beginning to open. It's the buds. And we just cut it down and then insert it right into the base of the holder, making sure it goes in nice and firmly so it doesn't come back out. And then repeat that, maybe letting it come out towards the top, and then connecting the two by placing it down into the side and on up towards the center. That one's not quite as pretty. Let's see, this one's prettier. Cutting it out, filling it in. That way it fills from top to bottom, creating that long line that's going to be so fabulous in a cascade. Then going back with the dendrobium, doing that same thing. Bring it down long, making sure it's deeply embedded. Then pulling you on upward visually. Turning it so that the blooms face outward. There we go. And then coming up towards the top, carrying it through. Again, top to bottom. That's the key when you're working in a cascade format. Think about that elongated line so that you go from the bottom to the top and through the middle. Once I have the base established, I just need to fill in the body, add bulk to the accent area, and make sure I cover all my mechanics. So for that, I've got some peonies, I've got some callas, lots of interesting form and texture. Just cutting them short enough to tuck down in, following the same line, pulling up towards the center. Make sure it goes in well. A little bit shorter on that one. And then, of course, bring it out towards the top so that the bride sees the beauty as well. And then the fullness of the peony, oh my goodness, they're just so exquisite. Tucking it in. And it quickly starts to conceal the cage. Maybe coming up and over to the opposite side. And I have two different types of peonies here, so I'm going to mix them. This one's a little darker. Using it towards the center. Finding the perfect hole. And then I've got a hole on the back side I want to make sure I totally conceal so that my mechanics get hidden. With the cascade style, starting with the line, filling in the body so you have nice accent area. Then it's just fill in the blanks wherever there might be a hole. Add some lightness to fill in, cover mechanics. Maybe it's little bits of the sweet peas. Bringing them down, brightening this side over here, finding the hole. Another one up more towards the center. Adding some of the lighter pink. And then out towards the top. Maybe a little bit on the opposite side over here. Broke that one, so giving it a cut and just using it shorter, right up against the container. Breaking that out of there. And then adding in just a little bit more white with the wax flower. Its little florets mimic the buds of the stephanotis, giving a fresh look. Breaking it down, then inserting it. Coming up and over. All of these have such nice, strong, thin stems that it makes it easy to get it in a little bit later like this. Out towards the top, then turning it, looking at it from all sides. Maybe it needs a little more dendrobium, maybe a little more wax flower. But once it's done and you're happy with where everything is, then there's one more step. And this was yet one more question I received over and over again. How can you be absolutely sure that the flowers aren't going to fall out? Because when she carries it and gravity is pulling downward, what happens? Oh my goodness, you certainly don't want the flowers to fall out. There's one more trick to the mechanics, and that's to use a spray glue, bouquet hold or stem lock. There's different kinds. It comes with this little thin straw. And you just take and insert it down between the blooms, not into the foam, but right underneath the blooms and against or near the foam, and then spray. And then you go around and you spray. And then you come around, tuck it in, and you spray. And what you're doing is creating a glue shell or netting over the top of the cage that locks all your blooms in place, and you can be sure they're not going to fall out. One last question that came in over and over was, how long will this last? It's a great question. And I can tell you that we made this and it would last 2 days or more in the flower cooler. So you could make it up for a wedding on Thursday, Friday, and then deliver it Saturday and be confident it'll be beautiful. Key is to spray it down with Crowning Glory, let it dry, put it in a bag, protect it, and then set it in your flower cooler, and it'll just be perfect. Now a little secret, 2 of these peonies and the sweet peas are from the original Florabundance order weeks ago. Now they've been in my cooler, but aren't they still fabulous? Kind of amazing how long they last. Then the question is, how long will they last after weeks in the cooler? And I'm going to take them home and enjoy them. And my guess, I still have 2 to 3 days of life out of these, even after weeks in my flower cooler. Now, if you missed the original video where I showed you the peony bridal bouquet with the Florabundance blooms, you'll want to go back and take a look at that, because some of this might not make sense as I'm going back and forth between the two. You can find that and much more inspiration on our website at flowerschool.com. And as you can see, we do listen to you. And when I say if you have questions, don't hesitate to contact us, I do really mean it. You can reach me through the website or by telephone at 1-800-819-8089. And of course, if it's easier, use my personal email at Leanne, L-E-A-N-N-E, at floraldesigninstitute.com. Now it's your turn. Have fun and do something you love.